While it's sometimes hard to believe, not all celebrities had it easy all of their lives. In fact, some of them have gone through some pretty tough times as they grew up. Here are just a few examples of celebrities who have had horrible childhoods. Drew Barrymore. She was born into acting, literally. Barrymore was born in California to parents John and Jade Barrymore, both of whom were actors. Her parental grandparents and great-grandparents were also actors, as were many of her relatives on her father's side. Drew herself made her first television debut when she was 11 months old in a dog food commercial, then in Altered States when she was 5 years old. It was her role in E.T. the Extraterrestrial a year later, though, that really kickstarted her acting career. Her parents divorced when she was 9 years old, around the time she was filming Irreconcilable Differences. Not long after that, she began smoking cigarettes and was drinking alcohol by the time she was 11. She then moved on to marijuana and cocaine in the next few years and landed herself in rehab by the time she was 14. She tried to commit suicide that same year and was sent to an institution for the mentally ill for 18 months. Barrymore's drug abuse and reckless behavior continued into the mid-90s. EMINEM. Marshall Bruce Mathers III, before he became rapper Eminem, was born in St. Joseph, Missouri. After his father abandoned him and his mother, 17-year-old Deborah, when he was just a baby, she moved around looking for stable work. They lived in Missouri, Detroit, and Michigan, forcing young Marshall to attend several different schools where he was constantly bullied and treated as an outcast. They continued to move through the public housing system and the homes of relatives, never staying in the same place for more than a year or two. He quickly began to resent his mother for her prescription drug abuse, lack of parental care, and paranoid personality. Mark Wahlberg. Growing up the youngest of 9 siblings, Wahlberg grew up in South Boston's Dorchester neighborhood. After his parents divorced when he was 11 years old, he spent his time moving between the two homes. By the time he was 13, he was experimenting with drugs and became addicted to cocaine. He was also well known by the Boston Police Department and had been in trouble nearly 25 times. Wahlberg had a civil action filed against him when he was 15 for throwing rocks and racial slurs at several African American kids in his neighborhood. He was also charged with attempted murder of a Vietnamese man when he was 16 years old. He was sentenced to 2 years in Suffolk County Deer Island House of Corrections. Nicki Minaj. Born Onika Maraj in 1982 in Trinidad, singer Nicki Minaj grew up with her grandmother while her parents moved to America, hoping to find a better life. When she was 5 years old, she moved to Queens, New York to live with her parents once again. Not long after that, her father developed an addiction to crack cocaine and became physically and emotionally violent. Minaj lived in constant fear that her father would kill her mother. That fear only intensified when she and her brother were away at a friend's house and her father set fire to their home with their mother still inside. Her mother was thankfully able to escape the blaze unharmed. Jim Carrey. Born in Newmarket, Ontario in 1962, Jim Carrey was the youngest of 4 kids in a middle-class family. His father lost his job when Carrey was 12 years old and the family fell on hard times. When a factory offered jobs to the entire family, the Carreys moved closer to the factory into a tiny building. Carrey himself worked an 8-hour shift as a janitor in addition to looking after his mother, who suffered from a severe and chronic condition. The jobs took its toll on the entire family, and when they were no longer able to stand the strain, they left. With no jobs to speak of, the family became homeless and began living in a VW van. At 16, Carrey performed at local comedy clubs in order to bring money in for his family. Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey was born to teenage parents in Mississippi during the 1950s. Her parents separated when she was very young, so she was primarily raised by her grandmother. She moved to her mother's home in Milwaukee when she was 6, however, after her grandmother fell ill. When she was 9 years old, she was raped by a male family member while he was babysitting her. Over the years, she was raped and molested by several male relatives and turned to drugs and alcohol in her early teens to deal with the trauma of these events. Unable and unwilling to deal with her behavior, her mother sent her to live with her father in Nashville, Tennessee. When she was 14, she discovered she was pregnant, but delivered a premature son that did not survive. After reading Maya Angelou's book at age 16, she was determined to turn her life around and went back to school. She's now known as the Queen of all media and is ranked one of the richest African Americans in the 20th century. Hey there, folks! Check out our friends over at Screen Rant, the #1 channel for movie and TV list videos, fun facts, hidden facts, fan trailers, and more. Thanks!